beginning of that familiar theme song, or maybe not familiar to a lot of you, it's time to go out to the other coast of the United States, out to the West Coast, where they make them movies, and talk to Michael Snyder. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Alex, and greetings all of you out there in GABNet and Roku land, wherever you are. Yeah, we've got new movies, and we're ready to review them. So let's get to it. In one of the year's most flagrant examples of Oscar bait, at least so far, we have Judy, a mostly late-in-life biopic about actress-singer Judy Garland, starring Renee Zellweger as Judy. Renee, old squint eyes, delivers a very earnest impression of the swaying into middle-age Garland. I mean, by the 1960s, when this film is mostly set, Judy's legendary girl-next-door star status, cemented during her youth in moving pictures such as The Wizard of Oz and Meet Me in St. Louis, had seen ebb and flow, to say it kindly, sparking as a grown woman in her acclaimed version of A Star is Born, and then dimming by the time we catch up to her in Judy. It was to the point where, relying on pills and booze to keep her going, she was running out of money while battling for custody of her two young kids with, I believe, her fourth husband, Sid Luft, the kids, Lorna and Joey. Liza, everybody knows Liza Minnelli, her daughter with previous Paramore director Vincent Minnelli, was already on her own at that point. So anyway, Judy agrees to an offer to play an engagement at a venue in London that turns out to be a kind of a last hurrah. Except when she was too distraught or medicated to deliver a good performance. The situation set up here in the film is very much like that in last year's Laurel and Hardy movie Stan and Ollie, wherein the famed Hollywood comedy legends try to resurrect their careers with comeback shows in England. Yeah, same thing here. I thought Stan and Ollie was a better script with somewhat more convincing impressions, those courtesy of Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly. But Renee as Judy gives a pretty complex and impassioned performance. Her singing is serviceable. It ain't Garland. But the task of convincingly reproducing her voice would have been daunting for any actress. I think, you also get Michael Gambon as the London impresario, the talented rising star Jessie Buckley as the impresario's assistant, who is tasked with watchdogging the unsteady Garland. Oscar kind of loves impressions of tragic stars. We've seen awards for Ray, I Walk the Line, and other biopics. Expect a nomination for Renee, but Judy was a little too by the numbers, big band numbers, if you will. And I kind of feel if Jessie Buckley, who was so good as a Scottish country singer in Wild Rose, had done a few choruses here of Over the Rainbow, I might have liked it a little more. Maybe not. Anyway, I think her fans will want to see it, and they'll probably be pickier than I am. Moving on, The Day Shall Come is a disturbingly funny satire about race and class and terrorism and Justice Department overreach in America. It comes from British director Chris Morris and co-screenwriter Jesse Armstrong, two guys I really respect. Set largely in Miami, The Day Shall Come concerns Moses, a determined black preacher and wannabe revolutionary who has created his own empowering religious cult to lift up his people after centuries under the heel of the white oppressor, etc. Unfortunately, this guy only has a few followers, and he can't make the rent on his ramshackle temple. Meanwhile, a local FBI agent named Kendra, played by Anna Kendrick, she's being belittled by her boss and co-workers, and their task force at the Miami FBI office, they're a bunch of clowns. They're trying and failing to make high-profile terrorist arrests. So Kendra decides that she needs a big score to raise her status in the agency. She plans to set a honey trap for Moses and catch him acquiring arms, but things go horribly awry. I'm a big fan of Morris, like I said. His funny faux TV news shows Brass Eye in the UK still packs a punch years after it ended, and the same goes for Armstrong. Armstrong with Sam Bain co-created one of my favorite sitcoms, Peep Show, and a couple years ago, Morris, Armstrong, and Bain teamed up to do the movie Four Lions, which was a very pointed comedy about inept Islamic terrorists in London. Same kind of vibe here. Four Lions was funnier and more tense than The Day Shall Come, but Moses, as played by the wonderful Marchant Davis, is he's a far more tragic figure than anyone in Four Lions. He and the situation of our current national nightmare, poverty, divisiveness, and government corruption give Day Shall Come all the weight and relevance it needs for a recommendation from yours truly. All righty. Abominable is a beautifully animated American-Chinese co-production set in Shanghai and points west. It may have a fairly boilerplate Free Willy type plot, but the setting and characters are more fanciful, and the overall effect feels pretty fresh. Here are the basics. Yi, a teenage girl still recovering from the death of her father, encounters and befriends a Yeti that's escaped a science lab where the creature has been tormented by experiments and, of course, being confined. He's a Yeti. He wants to return home to the Himalayas. So the girl decides she's going to help him get there, accompanied by her neighbors, a popular and narcissistic boy from her school, and a mischievous, overamped younger kid. And thus, a modern-day journey to the West, which, by the way, is a staple of Chinese mythology, literature, movies, and TV. On their heels are the head scientist, an American woman voiced by Sarah Paulson, and the wealthy industrialist who wants to study the Yeti and unlock the paranormal powers it may have. That old bastard is voiced by Eddie Izzard. Everyone else of note in the voice cast is Chinese-American or Chinese, which is very gratifying and effective. So Yi is voiced by Chloe Bennett from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and even the esteemed James Hong voices a character. If I have any quibbles other than the familiarity of the plot structure, it would be that the design of the Yeti's mouth is straight out of How to Train Your Dragon down to the teeth. But the Dragon movies and this are distributed by DreamWorks, so they can chalk it up to house style, I guess. Abominable is it's pleasant. It's a little on the minor side, but it's successful. And a diligent embrace of the Chinese setting and the characters suggest kind of a universality that bodes well for similar cross-cultural endeavors. Finally, and briefly, we have Anthropocene. So in case you don't know, Anthropocene refers to a sixth mass extinction, an ongoing event of species during the present era or epoch or epic, and it's the result of human activity. So this is a documentary about that, a very good, very disturbing, impressionistic documentary. They use beautiful cinematography of locations and circumstances around the globe to depict what humankind is doing to the planet, as in excavating and polluting and ravaging it. And it's coming to the point where we are in the middle of a mass extinction. Remember Soylent Green as people? Well, now we have mass extinction as people. This isn't as lovely and hypnotic and groundbreaking as Koyaanisqatsi and the other two installments of that visually stunning World Out of Balance movie trilogy from 3 decades ago. But it's the same sort of sensibility, even more chilling in what it depicts and suggests about our immediate future. What are you watching, buddy?
We just caught up with Fleabag finally, and it's terrific. It's really terrific.
Worth all the accolades, you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yes, and then some. Very good.
Cool.
Very
cool, man.
Very good. So that would be my suggestion for people if I had one to give. Tell them where they can find you, Michael.
Well, I'm on Twitter at Culture Blaster and on Facebook at Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page, and hopefully back here next week.
And that's Michael Snyder, and that's the movie reviews. There's more GABNet coming right up if you're listening to us 24/7, or you can hear his reviews anytime you want to on our on-demand section at GABNet.net. Meanwhile, for 24/7, there's more GABNet coming right up.